Welcome to another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me as always is new Michael, Kevin Jank.
What happens when a group of supervillains stop being polite and start being real?
You get the Secret Society of Supervillains, and today we're reading issue 10 from 1977. Again, I never heard of this book until a few months ago when I was researching potential books to read, and I said, Secret Society of Supervillains, this sounds awesome, you know?
Yeah. It could be DC's version of, supervillain team-up.
Yeah, this seems great.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't.
No.
It wasn't, no.
No, it was not.
This was terrible. Oh, man.
I feel like we've read books that were technically inferior to this, but still, this ranks among one of the least fun books I've read, I feel like.
And again, the culprit here is Gerry Conway, who we had such esteem for him before I started doing this podcast. But it's been downhill every time I read one of his things. But anyway, and also the artist is Dick Ayers, and we'll talk about them later. But before we get into the book, let's remind everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We're up to 117 subscribers.
Ooh,
I think that's up from last week. I don't even know.
Yeah, I think we gained at least one. That's good.
I don't know.
Incremental growth.
You figure Slash Maraud would have brought him in, you know?
I know. Well, again, nobody knows what Slash Maraud is, so
that is a problem.
Hopefully that got the word out.
You know, you type in the old keywords there in YouTube. The more popular a phrase is, the more people will find it. No one's searching for Slash Maraud, you know?
Nope. Even your video about are you a fuzzlicker, I'm sure probably not a lot of keywords in that one. They get searched a lot.
Probably not. Or at least they don't get what they expect when they search for that term.
Yeah.
But anyway, we appreciate the support, so thank you very much. And all right, let's get into this, Jank. Secret Society Supervillains. It premiered in May 1976, and it ran for 15 issues before people came to their senses. It ended in July 1978. Now, July 1978, that was a time called the DC Implosion. Yeah, Michael and I talked about this before, but I guess earlier that year, DC released a bunch of new books because they wanted to take over the market share by releasing a bunch of new books. And they said, this will do it, and that failed horribly. So then they had to
release a bunch of books, not worry about the quality. Make books that essentially feel like they were made in the Silver Age or possibly even Golden Age, and
that's what this was exactly. So a lot of books got whacked in the DC implosion. This technically, I don't think was part of the implosion, but it gets mixed in with it a lot because it got canceled shortly after. So whether it was or not, I don't think it technically it was, but yeah, at this time in 1978, a whole lot of DC books went away. And, this was one of them.
You can see why.
They actually had issue 16 and 17 done, and they were ready to print, and then the series got canceled. So those issues still exist, and sometimes they're collected. If you can find a collection of these books, good luck with that.
Nice for the two fans who like this book.
So Gerry Conway created it as an evil justice society, and that was the inspiration there. And the original team included Captain Cold. He's a Flash guy, right?
Sure is one of the. I think I would call him, Flash's arch nemesis, maybe except for Reverse Flash, but.
And that pretty much tells you all you need to know about Flash. Your arch nemesis is Captain Cold. Then we have
Gorilla Man in a parka.
Gorilla Grodd, the big smart gorilla. We've talked about him. Yeah, that's right, because we talked about him in a Flash book. Michael and I did. Star Sapphire. That's someone we've never talked about here on the show. We'll get into her later.
She may have, maybe during the Green Lantern episode, she may have been touched upon when Pete was telling us about the different color spectrums.
Possibly.
She, I believe, is part of the violet spectrum.
Yeah, for love. But we'll get into that in a second. We'll talk about her in detail later. But yeah, I was going to say, too bad Cousin Pete's not here. Hey, let's just call him. Let's cold call him. Let's see if he's...
See if he's happened to read this villain of Secret Society of Supervillains.
Manhunter was also a part. Mirror Master. I have no idea who that is.
Ooh, he's another Flash guy with the Rogues. I remember
Copperhead.
you telling me this about a story of him from later on, I think, in the run, where Mirror Mask was doing, cocaine off of mirrors, and that was
You can't show that. That's against the comics code. What is happening?
This was after the fact. This is probably 2000s when nobody cared anymore. You can do whatever you want.
Copperhead, he's like a snake guy. I don't know. You ever encounter him?
Yeah. No, I feel like there's a Marvel villain named Copperhead.
Yeah. Marvel had a snake for everything.
Yeah. Every snake they covered, yeah.
Hey, here's another Cousin Pete favorite, Sinestro.
Oh, yeah.
Shadow.
Sounds like a much better team than what we have in this issue.
Shadow Thief. Who the hell's that?
Shadow Thief, huh?
Not a clue. And then a guy named the Wizard, who we see in this book as well. He's like a magician, I think.
Yeah.
So
Did we see him in that Superman and Man-Bat thing? Was he the guy in the thing, like shooting lightning at Superman?
No. That was Atomic Skull. Oh, no, you're talking about the All-Star Squadron one.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
that was Dr. Doog who was shooting the lightning at Superman.
Oh, that's right.
But there was a giant, like, magician-looking fella, but it was not Wizard, though. It was Zoltan or something like that. Remember,
it was closer to Zatanna.
Yes, because I thought, is this Zatanna's daddy? And you're like, I don't think. So, Anyway. All right. So the original group was assembled by Darkseid, and they were called the Brotherhood of Crime. And he got them all together because he planned to use a deadly nerve gas to hold the world for a ransom. But the villains, led by him, that sounds like something Darkseid would do, right?
Yeah, because when you're ruling some other planet in some other dimension, what you want is Earth money. Lots of Earth money.
But the villains, led by Manhunter, they said, hey, wait a minute. I think this Darkseid fella, he doesn't seem like the nicest guy. I think he wants to enslave humanity. So they revolted and defeated Darkseid. But it really wasn't Darkseid. It was a filthy robot. It wasn't their real Darkseid. But they figured that Darkseid was controlling the robot, from Apocalypse or whatever that planet is that he rules. And so once they defeat him, they said, we better stick together. Not only can we help each other fight our respective superheroes, but we can also stand guard against that filthy Darkseid. So they're kind of heroic.
Have some noble intentions, I guess. That's something.
So what can you say? But the group operated out of the Sinister Citadel in San Francisco. Now, I don't know. You think the mailman would catch on at some point if he's delivering packages to the Sinister Citadel? Hey, Superman, you might want to look into this. This doesn't look so kosher.
You're ordering a lot of cold guns.
Conway neglected to include the team's headquarters in the first issue he did, and he turned it in. It was all ready to go. And the editor-in-chief at the time, Carmine Infantino, he said, hey, what's this? The villains don't have a clubhouse. They don't have a headquarters.
They're at Dunkin' Donuts. This isn't good.
He's like, hey, this isn't going to fly. You got to redo this whole issue. And so Conway had to rewrite the whole issue, and they had to redraw it and everything. And so there was a delay. So then Conway couldn't do the next couple issues because, clearly these are works of art. This is high quality stuff we're doing a little bit here. So he couldn't do issues 2, 3, and 4. So a fella named David Anthony Kraft scripted those issues off of Conway's plots. And then after issue 4, Conway and Kraft both left DC. This was when Conway went back to become Marvel editor-in-chief.
Oh.
Remember that brief period? Because he was editor-in-chief for 6 weeks, I think. He did not stay long.
He was the William Henry Harrison of editor-in-chiefs.
Wow, look at you with the historical reference. But for those who don't remember Gerry Conway, just real quick, he was the kid. He was 19 years old, and he took over writing The Amazing Spider-Man from Stan Lee, which is just mind-boggling.
Yeah. I still, cannot believe that story.
It's insane. So then even here in 76, 77, whatever this is, he would have only been 23, 24, somewhere around there.
An editor-in-chief. Oh my God.
I don't know when he came, or no, he was probably older than that, huh? Yeah. But still.
Well, kind of much older. Yeah, he couldn't have been 30.
Yeah, he's probably in his mid to late 20s. But anyway, yeah, he becomes the editor-in-chief, and then he, like I said, he only lasted like a month or so, and then he said, I've had enough of this. And then I think he goes back to DC apparently, because then by issue 8, he's writing this comic again. Yeah.
Wow, that's a brief tenure, yeah. You're already able to pick up a series that only lasted about a year.
Yeah, and I think he stepped down and then he went back to just writing for Marvel, but then I think he was writing technically for both companies, and then he came back here. So I don't know, but he was from like issues 8 through 14, he did those issues, and then a fellow named Bob Rozakis, he did issue 15, and Bob Rozakis also did the issues when Conway was away. So he did issues, what was that, 5, 6, 7, and then 15. And so the artists who worked on the title were a bunch of them. Pablo Marcos, Rich Buckler, Mike Vosberg, Dick Ayers. Again, that's always a sign of a good book. When in 15 issues you have more than 4 artists and multiple writers.
Yeah. Top-notch work for everyone, clearly.
Sounds like a cool idea, in theory.
Yeah, it sure does. I'm sure it could be done well. I mean, there certainly have been many books since about villains. Obviously, the Suicide Squad jumps to mind, but that was very successful.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely good ways to do books about villains, but they have to be written better than this.
And I think, some incarnation of this team continues to pop up through DC throughout history, I guess. Whenever they need a storyline. Oh, the Secret Society's back or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
and I think they would do that with Slash Murad.
Yeah. We need more fuzzlickers in here. Let's go. All right, so let's talk about some of these people involved here. Star Sapphire, we mentioned her. And the Star Sapphire we're dealing with in this book, her name is Ramoni Notra. And her first appearance was Secret Society of Supervillains issue 1, 1976, created by Gerry Conway and Pablo Marcos. The first Star Sapphire was Carol Ferris.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow, you actually know her name? Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, she is essentially Blake Lively's character from that Lantern movie.
All right.
Yeah. She was kind of the love interest of Hal Jordan for a while there, even though they were kind of villains when she was in her secret identity there.
That's right. She was a businesswoman, pilot, and love interest of Hal Jordan. And there's an alien race called the Zamorans, who they're like these tall, slim warrior women with blue skin and purple hair. They chose Ferris to be their queen, and they gave her the Star Sapphire gem that granted her mental powers and stuff, but it also made her crazy, made her kind of loopy. And they also, I guess, brainwashed her, and so she thought Green Lantern was her enemy when she was Star Sapphire.
Of course.
And, she was fighting with the Green Lantern all the time. But then she snapped out of it, and she rejected the Zamorans, and she says, I don't want to be your queen. And I don't know if she gave up the Star, but then later she became a good Star Sapphire then, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's kind of been back and forth. One of those characters that switches back and forth a lot.
So the Zamorans, then they recruited this Ramoni Notra lady. Apparently all the Star Sapphires have to look alike.
Yeah, kind of like Robin. You gotta find a young kid with like black hair, looks like a young Bruce Wayne.
Gotta find a foxy brunette. You can be Star Sapphire. But she comes from the planet Pandina. That's an excellent shampoo, by the way. Pandina. And she decided to be their queen. And she accepts the Star Sapphire. But I guess the Star Sapphire, it's some ancient gem or something. And there's like 5 of them, I guess. It's been broken up into 5 bits. And when she finds out there's 4 others out there, she wants to collect them all, So
Pokemon cards.
That's right. So she heard that there's one on Earth with Carol Ferris. So she wants to come to Earth to get that other gem. So that's what brings her to Earth, and that's why she's in this here comic book.
Wait, so she's not from Earth originally?
No, she's from Pandina, the shampoo planet.
So they just happen to look exactly like Earthlings.
Yes. Yep. On a planet of foxy brunettes. And they said, all right, he wants you to be the new Star Sapphire. So, yeah. And I guess she kind of talks with a French accent in this book, right? Like,
I didn't even pick up on that.
Oh, well, at least at the beginning, like, I think that was in this book, because I went back and I read, like, issue 1, so yeah, you know what? Maybe that was in issue 1.
Yeah, I guess she might have dropped the accent by this point.
Well, she only spoke with it when she was, like, in her, she had, like, an alter ego where she was, like, a normal lady, and then she spoke with the French accent, and then she turned into Star Sapphire. And then she apparently didn't speak with the French accent. But anyway. All right, so that's Star Sapphire. But yeah, I guess at some point then these Zamorans, they took this gem, one of the Sapphire, and they made like a little lantern, just like the Green Lanterns, and they became like the Star Sapphire cores or whatever. Yeah. Just like the Green Lantern cores. Yeah. Yep,
exactly.
So
it became one of the 7 spectrums.
And their purple color is love. Because I think originally Star Sapphire, like the evil Star Sapphire, she like was out to get revenge against anyone who ever wronged a woman.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we'd be in big trouble. Yeah. But, there you go. Good old.
I don't know anyone, so I'd be safe.
Oh, there you go. And I think these Zamorans, if I read this history properly, who's the guys that started who are the Elders of the Universe, or who are the guys who started all the Green Lantern nonsense?
Oh, the Guardians of the Universe, I think.
Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
That's it exactly. The Guardians of the Universe. All right, so they come from a race of people like the Owens or something like that.
Owens the planet. Yeah.
Yeah. They like way long ago, these fellas, they decided, hey, we got to be the Guardians of the Universe, so we got to watch over. And because, they're so busy being Guardians of the Universe, they didn't have time for their ladies anymore. So their ladies said, hey, we're through with you. We're going to go find some better dudes out there. So they broke off and they became the Zamorans.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. That seems
and it
weird,
turned into like some kind of a Wonder Woman island situation?
Kind of, pretty much. Like, yeah, Zamorans, it's kind of like Amazons in space, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Another villain we need to discuss. Funky Flashman.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the history of Funky Flashman?
No. I'm assuming it's Funky Flashman.
Funky Flashman.
Flashman.
His first appearance was Mr. Miracle issue 6, 1972, and he's created by Jack Kirby. And he's basically a rib at Stan Lee.
Oh, look at that.
This is, Funky Flashman. Like he's all glitz, he's a huckster, he's a salesman. No real substance to him.
Wow. What a dick.
So he's a con man and a huckster who worked for a rich fellow named Colonel Mockingbird. And when his employer died, Funky Flashman took over the estate, including the butler, whose name is House Roy. Do you get what they're going for there?
Yeah.
Roy Thomas. He's making fun of Roy Thomas. And then, then he eventually
Roy Thomas comes up every episode of this show somehow.
I know. It's like the Roy Thomas.
I don't know how.
But then Funky Flashman ran out of money, so he needed to find new income sources. So he tried to become the manager of Mr. Miracle, and then he eventually became the public relations officer for the Secret Society of Supervillains. That's how he gets in this book here. And in this book he looks like Sonny Bono.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah, the mustache
and the little haircut.
Looks like he's got a bad wig, possibly.
That's exactly it. He is bald and hairless up top, but he wears a fake. Originally, he had a fake beard and mustache and a goofy wig. So now in this issue, he just has the mustache. Now, while he is like a rib at Stan Lee, the original inspiration for the character was actually a fella. I think his name was Dave Wallace, I believe. And this is according to Mark Evanier, who, of course, from Gru and DNA Agents. And we learned when we did our Demon issue that he was Jack Kirby's assistant back in the 70s. Mm-hmm. And he says that Kirby and Evanier and a lot of other comics people, they did some works for a company called Marvel Mania International, which was a mail order company that sold licensed Marvel products. And the guy who ran it, he was a jerk. and he didn't pay people. Like Kirby did a bunch of posters for him, and he never got paid. And I guess Evanier got stiffed. So they were trying to come up with characters. Evanier and a couple other fellows said, "Hey, why don't you just parody this fella? You know, base a character on him." So that was the original inspiration. But then when Kirby started creating the character, he just was really sticking it to Stan Lee. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna.
He's like, who am I mad at this week?
I'm really just gonna dig a knife into Stan Lee there. And House Roy the Butler is, like we mentioned, Roy Thomas. And he looks exactly like Roy Thomas. Like he has his glasses and everything. So, yeah. Pretty interesting there. So that's cool. That's the background for Funky Flashman. All right, there's a hero in this book. And
is it Uncle Bubble?
No, it's not Uncle Bubble. Why was he even here? The trickster guy.
I don't know.
We'll talk about that later. The trickster from the Blue Devil book we did a few months back. He's in this one too. But the hero is Captain Comet. I think at the end of last week's episode, I called him Comet Man.
Yeah.
That was my bad.
That was a totally different guy.
This is Captain Comet. Yeah, I guess he's in the military. His first appearance was Strange Adventures issue 9, 1951. He dates all the way back to 1951. His creator was Julius Schwartz, John Broome, and Carmine Infantino. It took 3 men to create Captain Comet. He was introduced at a strange period in comics history. It was after the Golden Age, like when superheroes were a thing, but before the Silver Age, when they came back. And sometimes this brief period is called the Atomic Age, when it was nothing but like sci-fi and horror and stuff like that. So that's when he made his debut. But he is one of the oldest mutant metahumans in comics history. I guess Namor is technically the oldest mutant.
Yeah, although when did they start calling Namor a mutant? I don't remember that being a thing until way later on.
Yeah, they may have retconned that to make him the oldest mutant. But either way, this Captain Comet fellow is one of the earliest. And he was, he became a because DC they call metahumans.
Yeah, but it did seem weird that they would refer to him as a mutant in this issue. Like, they were flat out calling him a mutant.
Yeah,
there was no talk about humans.
Or metagen. So he became a metahuman when, during his birth, a comet flew overhead. And it triggered his metagene. So, sure, it's a painful delivery for the mother. But either way, that's how he became a metahuman. Yeah. And he's kind of like Doc Savage. He's like the pinnacle of human evolution. You know how Doc Savage like trained his mind and his body to become the peak human specimen? Kind of like Captain Comet, except he cheated. You know, he did it because he's a metahuman. Not with hard work like Doc Savage. So he has a genius IQ, photographic memory, telepathy, telekinesis, which he uses to fly around. He's also somewhat clairvoyant, superhuman strength, and endurance. And he teams with a fellow named Professor Zacro, who designs different tech for him, including a stun gun and a spaceship. Why don't you design some technology for me, Jank? Come on.
I created one called Skype. Not working out.
Yeah, it's terrible. Go back to the drawing board on that one. All right, so that's Captain Comet. You sound like a big fan in this book, right? You want to read all you can about Captain Comet now?
No, he was pretty lame. Surprisingly lame.
I'll say this about Captain Comet. He sure can take a beating. They were just beating the hell out of him in this issue. Like Gorilla Grodd was smacking him around.
Yeah, for a guy with so many powers, like, you think he'd do more.
Yeah, he sure can take a bump for Gorilla Grodd. Yeah, he's pretty good. So, all right, that's, I think, all the background I have on this book. I think that's plenty, right?
What about the Creeper?
Oh, well, we've talked about him many times, right? Oh. He was in...
Maybe.
Yeah, we talked about him at least twice. I think the one issue you picked. Remember you picked that dopey Justice League where Green Lantern gets punched by Batman?
Oh, yeah. And then I sadly wasn't here. Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Bob Myers filled in for you, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. You picked it and then didn't read it, which is the wise. But yeah, we talked about the Creeper there. Jack Ryder, I think is his name, right?
Yeah. Newsman Jack Ryder.
But he's the Creeper. All right, well, let's look at this cover, Jack. Why don't you describe it for the people?
Ooh, it's not a very attractive cover. I can't say that I enjoyed any part of it. It's got some DC kind of just circle up in the corner. No real corner box or anything to speak of up there. They kind of sandwich in the issue number and the price off to the right side there. And we get a pretty lame logo. The Secret Society.
Yeah.
The Secret Society is in like a little banner. It's very standard looking, and then Supervillains is kind of your basic block letters that don't look particularly fancy. So
yeah, it's
not
weird.
a lot of effort there.
I don't like how they, the little banner at the top, yellow with green letters, the Secret Society, and then the supervillains, like you said, it's kind of, I guess Superman has a similar thing, right? The letters are coming at you, or at least in the movies. But look at the villains, like they just cut it. Like there's no black beneath the letters at all.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very like Schoolhouse Rock is what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
It's not very exciting.
No.
And they left like all the stuff behind it. They left a lot of space for this logo and stuff, and like it's just a lot of red back there, but there's no reason to. It's not really filling up the space enough, and it's just kind of, I don't know, pretty lackluster.
Yeah, just the way things are, it even looks like there's too much space between the P and the E, but I think it's just an optical illusion just because there's no shadow back there. But, yeah, they could have done a better job here with the logo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty disappointing.
Not so good.
But, then yeah, set against this red sky, we got Captain Comet just getting his ass whooped by everybody at once. Star Sapphire is like shooting her Star Sapphire beam at him, and I don't know what it's doing exactly. If it's paralyzing him or just zapping him, one of the two. But the Wizard is also using his magic wand to blast him, and then Gorilla Grodd just punching him right in the face. And it kind of just looks like Captain Comet's wearing a diaper with the white underpants.
White underpants is not a good look. Every once in a while, wrestlers try to go for that. No, it's not a good look. Don't worry about trunks.
Oh, that's the Walter White.
So, yeah, we should mention Star Sapphire. She wears her gem on her forehead, like in a little crown or something.
Yeah, like a tiara.
Yeah, there it is. That's the word I'm looking for.
And then it says, there's a big text box that says, "Who gave the secret order to kill Captain Comet? Was it Star Sapphire, the Wizard, Gorilla Grodd, or someone else?"
Oh, no.
Really, I don't think anyone gave the order to kill him. He just kept showing up, and they kept fighting him, and nobody ever kills him, so.
Yeah, Captain Comet, he becomes like the recurring hero in this series. He didn't start that way, but I don't know what issue he came in, but he's a recurring hero for, I'd say, the back half of the run. Occasionally an actual hero will show up, like Green Lantern or Superman or something, but until then, Captain Comet steps in.
Stuck with Captain Comet. Like, who doesn't have a book and can we just use as a punching bag for these villains?
And we should say that the cover is drawn by Al Milgrom. And yeah, it's not the best, but it's got a big gorilla punching somebody, so I like it.
Yeah. I mean, Grodd looks kind of cool, but the others just look pretty bad.
Oh, Sapphire, she got them thigh-high boots. And
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we should say she's got like a pink outfit. And, Yeah. So there you go.
All right. Supposed to be like the violet spectrum lady, but she's very much dressed in pink. It's really not looking very purple.
Yeah, white gloves, white belt with a star symbol on it, so all right, now we open up the book, and this story is divided into chapters.
Yeah, 4 chapters.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a reason for it or why they had to do it exactly, but they did it. And
kind of superfluous, but yep.
Yeah, the Secret Society of Supervillains, Triumph and Treachery. That's the name of this. And we get a nice splash page here of Star Sapphire flying in to the Sinister Citadel. She's coming in through the window, I guess. And we see Wizard, the Creeper, Funky Flashman, and Grodd are in there. And we should say the Creeper, even though he's pretending to be a villain here, he's not. He's a good guy,
Yeah. Yep.
He's undercover, trying to find out what
takes these guys down. They got to figure out. He's got to figure out who their boss is.
You think the Secret Society would have a better, background check here on the Creeper? They pretty poor at vetting any new recruits,
Well, I think the Creeper has kind of been a villain at one point, right? Like
I guess. Yeah.
Like he loses control of his mind essentially and does villainous things. So I guess it makes.
They caught him peeping in Star Sapphire's bedroom window. He's a bad guy. So yeah, he's with the Secret Society now. And what is she telling these folks, Jank, when she comes in? Because I read this like a week ago and I don't remember gosh dang thing about this book.
So she says she followed Captain Comet as they agreed, tracking him to the legendary Lemuria in the South Pacific. They found out, in Lemuria, the Aquaman and the Atom are there, but none of them are important, but their friend Jean Loring is. Apparently the Atom's fiance, Jean Loring, has all this power all of a sudden, and they're very interested in that.
Yeah, Jean Loring, apparently she can make like earthquakes and stuff and natural disasters happen just by walking around or something. I don't know, that's weird. And Lemuria, like Lemuria, I believe that's like an ancient city, like legit, right? And like, because it's also in Marvel.
Yes, yeah, both Atlantis and Lemuria are both undersea kingdoms in both worlds. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah, for Namor and for Aquaman. So
yeah.
All right, so yeah, they got to go get this Jean Loring lady, and because they want to see how her powers work, how they can use it. And they say, let's go kidnap her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And Funky Flashman seems to think that's a good idea. I don't know. And
yeah, it doesn't seem like a great idea. Like, let's go kidnap a superhero's girlfriend because she has powers. Like, why don't you round up some other supervillains who would want to be part of your group?
So Funky Flashman dispatches Creeper and Star Sapphire to go kidnap Jean Loring.
Yep.
And so that's where they go. And meanwhile, Gorilla Grodd, he grabs Funky Flashman and throws him in front of a big computer. And he says they want to try, I think they're trying to assemble these different artifacts. Someone is paying them to collect like 5 different items or something. And the one they're going after in this issue is like a cloak of invisibility or something, right?
But apparently Superman threw these things into space at one point, and now they've come back.
What the hell, Superman? You can throw them a little harder. What are you doing? Candy arm. All right.
He was not born in Pittsburgh. Not cannon for enough.
So they talking to Funky Flashman, and he's like, "Well, how are we going to get these things when we just sent half of our team somewhere else, you know?" And he's like, "Hey, don't worry, Wizard's there with him." And they say, "We're going to go." Grodd just grabs Funky Flashman. He says, "We're going to go get him ourselves." So the 3 of them go out.
You're coming with us, which, I mean, that doesn't solve your problem. Funky Flashman is useless.
Yeah, what's he going to do? I don't know. And we should say he dresses kind of garishly. He's like a green pinstripe suit, black shirt, yellow tie.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he looks just like Sonny Bono. It's supposed to be Stan Lee. All right, so now chapter 2. I don't know, like, did you pay attention to the titles of these chapters? Because I don't know what they were trying to say, because they never really made any sense.
I think it's a reference to, like, the Mickey Mouse Club or something, right? Because it's like, who's the leader of the band?
Oh, okay, there you go.
That's killing you and me. M-I-C-K-Y.
All right, I got you.
U-S-E.
All right, so there's, we see Captain Comet flying in, and he's got a red outfit, like blue wristbands and boots, and here he's got black underpants now, or are they still yeah?
So apparently on the cover he just, I don't know, like, yeah, I don't want to speculate on what he did to them.
And he's got like blue fins on his shoulders, no mask or anything. He's a brown-haired white fella, and then he's got a like a comet logo on his chest. Although it looks like a sun more than a comet.
Sure does. Yeah, it's yellow, bright yellow.
Captain Sun. And he's going to Star Laboratories because he thinks they're going to go looking for the invisibility blanket or whatever here. Is that what he thinks?
Yeah. And this references so many other books. Like,
yeah. Oh my God. Every other panel, there's an asterisk with go see this book.
I mean, one thing if it was this, other issues of this book, but it's like every book DC makes, like, you don't need, if you're putting a marginal book like this, why do you need to reference every other book?
Yeah, because I guess these villains popped up in other books, so they had to I don't know, say when these events happened or whatever. I don't know. So Captain Comet's staking out Star Laboratories, but who else is there, Jank?
Uncle Bubble.
Yeah, the trickster.
Watching from a distance. Yep.
Why? Yeah, what's he here for? I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't know. But he's thinking in his thought bubbles. We find out that apparently he was helping Captain Comet and Kid Flash recently in this very book here. So I don't know. Is the trickster even a villain? Every time we see him, he's helping out the heroes. So I don't even know if he's been misclassified or what. This is all fake news. The trickster is bad. He seems like a good guy.
Well, is he? Because he doesn't help Captain Comet at all. He just sits there on this hillside.
Yeah. He's cowardly, but he's not actually helping the villains, so that's something.
Like Gorilla Grodd, Wizard, and Funky Flashman, they have this flying drill ship, like a drill bit on the front, and they just zip right through Star Labs and I guess grab the clothes they're flying through. I don't know. Seems like that's what happened, right? And so they fly through, and Captain Comet's like, I gotta beat these fellas. So he uses his mental powers, his telekinetic powers, to throw a bunch of rocks down at them from a cliff there. And so that slows down their ship. But then the Wizard uses his magic wand, and that's not a euphemism, it's an actual magic wand, and he shoots a bunch of lightning at Captain Comet and zaps him, but good, But then Captain Comet says, no.
So you think.
Yeah, I've got a telekinetic shield around my body. You didn't bother me at all. And then he punches the Wizard, KOs him with one shot. But then what happens?
It's like an old man, it appears. So yeah,
Wizard.
The elderly.
So, but what happens now though to Captain Comet, Jack?
Oh, he's gonna get now because Gorilla Grodd grabs him by the foot and starts bashing him into the wall.
This is my
he doesn't even need his psychic powers. He's just like, bam! I'm gonna beat you with my gorilla strength.
He swings him so hard into the rocks there and the cliff that his underpants turn white again. Look at that. His underpants are white. Man, yep. I love when a monkey just grabs somebody by the ankles and smacks them into a cliff. This is awesome. Big fan of that.
And Uncle Bubbles, they're here just, oh man, those guys play tough. I'm out of here.
I know.
So what was the point of any of this?
I have no idea. No idea.
Unless he comes back in a major way in a future issue, this was completely pointless.
Yeah, so he just leaves, and so that chapter ends with Captain Comet KO'd on the ground there, and now we get chapter 3, and we see Star Sapphire and a creeper flying into Lemuria, and each chapter also you get a big shot of fancy titles for the heroes. You'll see Star Sapphire in big letters with a star above the eye. Creeper, their own unique headers or whatever, but still isn't enough to make this interesting.
No.
All right.
I guess Star Sapphire is protecting them with her, powers, I guess, because they're in the ocean here. So,
yeah, I think that's what's going on.
Giving them the ability to breathe under there. Because she does mention she traps the Lemurians in air bubbles, so I'm assuming she can do that for them as well.
Yeah, she freezes some of the Lemurians, and then she puts some in a bubble, and then they fly down there. And now we come back to Captain Comet, and he's putting iodine on the cuts on his head. From Gorilla Grodd.
Blasted ape! I'm tired of taking his bruises.
That's pretty awesome.
In this world gone mad, he don't spank the monkey spanks him.
It's just awesome. Him putting the iodine with the little dropper on his forehead. All right, then he turns back into his alter ego. What did we say his name was? I don't know if I even said his real name. But he's dressed as I think I just know him as Captain Comet. But anyway, he's a fella here, now in a suit. I guess his mental powers, he can just change into a suit. With a turtleneck. It's an interesting look.
Yeah, classy.
Then he gets in his car, and he's driving around. And I don't know where he's going. But now we come back to Lemuria.
He's I picked up a mental image in one of their minds of
that's right.
Where they were going to be taking all the treasures to. So I'm going to beat them there.
And then we come back to Lemuria, and we see the Atom, Ray Palmer, right? Isn't that his name? Yep. I think so. Yeah. And he's looking at his lady friend, Jean Loring. Now, apparently, Jen, I want to make sure I follow this properly. But I guess the Atom shrunk down to a wee tiny size, climbed inside her brain.
Yeah.
And and tried to cure her but instead it put her into a coma? Is that what happened?
Yeah, apparently got a little too zap happy there and destroyed her brain, so.
Wow, why did that plan work?
Got better.
You think just crawling around in someone's brain and destroying things would work. I don't know what's going on. So anyway, he's just looking at Jean Loring and he's, oh, my poor love, at what a cost, that I may have killed you. And then the creeper just comes running in and socks him in the mouth.
Yep, just one cold cock and he's out.
Man. So they kidnapped Jean Loring in her comatose state, and the Atom's KO'd. And now we cut back to there's a hard cut, and now we see all the villains are now at their place where they hid all their treasures. Because, like I said, they've been collecting these 5 items, whatever they are. And didn't they just bury them in an abandoned lot somewhere?
Yeah, it looks like a construction yard. There's like a crane in the back, so they must be digging up some land there, and they just kind of dug a hole in there. I guess they were planning to come back before they built a building on top of it.
I guess. So they dig up the little box where they have all the things in there, and there's like a big gem, and it looks like a glove of some sort.
Yeah, some kind of power glove.
But Jank, Captain Comet shows up.
Uh-oh.
And what does he do?
How fierce an opponent he can be. Getting his body pounded into the cliff.
And Funky Flashman, though, while everyone's distracted by Captain Comet, he grabs all the items, right? And he jumps in that little drill car that they have, and he's going to escape. But the creeper is creeping after him, and he's going to, hitch a ride and keep up with him. Then we see Star Sapphire,
whoever the leader is that's been financing this whole operation.
Yeah, we don't find out who it is, right? Yeah, we
no.
Find that out. I don't know if anyone does, actually, when I think about it. Like, when I was reading up on it, it seems like a lot of loose ends were just like I don't think they ever resolved the Jean Loring situation. Or they had to have, right?
Somebody must have. If not in this book, yeah, sure. Like the Adam's fiance, they had to touch back on that.
So, but then, the series got canceled, and I guess a lot of things were unresolved, from what I understand. But anyway, so old Captain Comet comes down, and he punches Gorilla Grodd. And but then Gorilla Grodd punches him, and Gorilla Grodd just KOs him again, man. This is a monkey that's tough, man. I like this guy. Gorilla Grodd. And again, he's got the white underpants on. Are they always white? I don't know.
There's a bunch of different ones. It keeps changing them at will.
I guess.
Mental powers. So
Star Sapphire is about to just kill Captain Comet, right?
Yeah.
And, but Grodd says, no, you can't kill Captain Comet because he's part of my master plan. I need him. This is one of those things that was not resolved.
I don't know.
Really? I do remember because I read some article where someone looked at the whole series, and I know for a fact this was one of the things that was not resolved. Why Grodd needed Captain Comet alive, or what was his master plan. But if it's one thing I like, it's a monkey with a plan. So Gorilla Grodd won't let Star Sapphire kill Captain Comet. And again, we leave with Captain Comet just with his head in his hands, on his knees, just defeated. This guy takes a beating.
What a jobber.
So now we see Creeper, though. He's still creeping after old Funky Flashman. And he sees, and the Creeper transforms back into his Jack Ryder persona.
Molecular transmuter.
Those come in handy. And again, he's another guy, just a suit coat and a turtleneck, it looks like.
Yeah.
That must have been all
the same store.
And he sees Funky Flashman putting all the items into like a locker. Where are they at? The train station or something?
Yeah.
The bus station?
Putting it in there with Gerry Coleman.
On the right track. I love a good Gerry Coleman reference. But he notices that Funky Flashman drops the key on the ground. Which is weird, right?
Yeah, that's not what you want to do. That's not very secure.
So then, like 5 seconds later, the wizard comes along and he picks up the key.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to tell them how to do their business, but maybe just if he's delivering, why is this even happening? Because the wizard was there at the site with him anyway, right? When he absconded with the items.
I mean, I'm assuming Funky Flashman doesn't know that the wizard is the one coming to pick this up.
Okay.
Yeah, like the wizard got other secret orders from the boss saying, "Hey, go pick this up," and he didn't tell Funky Flashman about it. I'm assuming.
But he told Funky Flashman to steal the items.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't he just tell Funky Flashman to bring the items to him?
I guess he always needs, buffer between.
Yes, for just this reason. Because the creeper follows him and they catch the wizard, and then they take the wizard to the cops, and he says, "Hey, I'm just picking stuff up."
Yep.
I'm not.
I don't even know who this is.
There you go. It seems weird that the cops would even care, Keep your superhero business to yourself, all right? We got things to go here.
You want a weird, kinky sex glove? Go ahead. You can have it.
So Jack Ryder, the old creeper, he doesn't know what's going on, right? He's like, man, Jack Ryder wanders into the balmy Bay night and reaches a fateful decision. It's been good playing the creeper again, but my usefulness with the society is over. Captain Comet can clean up the rest of that gang. I don't think he can.
No. Yeah, chance. You're leaving this in the wrong hands.
So he says, I'm heading back to Gotham City. There's more than enough crime there for a man to battle, and I think at long last the creeper is ready to begin. And he starts laughing, because that's what the creeper does. And, so
Batman doesn't need as much help as the Comet, so probably stick around here.
See the creeper's new adventures in World's Finest Comics. And now we get an epilogue. Time, 1 hour after midnight. Place, the Secret Citadel. And, what was I calling it? The Sinister Citadel? Maybe it's just the Secret Citadel. I don't know. I think it's the same.
Okay, that's slightly less, the mailman would have a slightly less problem with that, I guess.
And then he says, hey, that's strange. Someone, who turned out the lights? I bet it was Cher. No, Sonny Bono, it wasn't Cher. He turned the lights on. And who is it, Jank?
Why, it's the new secret society run by Gorilla Grodd, apparently. He has a new group here. It's apparently consisting of Star Sapphire, Sinestro, I think Bizarro, Poison Ivy. I'm not sure who the guy is.
Yeah, this is the one I wanted to see if you knew, because this guy, who the hell is this guy? I guess it's Angleman.
Like Stance from Spider-Man a little bit.
Angleman is who this
is.
Are you familiar with him at all?
No, I'm familiar with Triangle Man from the They Might Be Giant song, but not Angleman.
You're the only one. No, this is Angleman, and I think what his gimmick is, if I read this properly, he has some sort of a gun that he shoots people with, and it turns them to a 90-degree angle towards our reality, and it puts them in a different dimension or something. I don't know.
I wish it just twisted their spine to a 90-degree angle or something.
I don't know. It's something like that.
That'd be cool.
I have no idea, Angleman. But anyway, he's like the new secret society, and then Poison Ivy says, "Face it, Flashman, you've been phased out." And then old Funky Flashman just choke. Yeah, that's all he says, choke. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So then we look at the bottom here, Jank, and there's a little message here. Need we say it? To be continued, but not in the next issue of Supervillains, for the conclusion of this story featuring, and there's all kind of gibberish. And it says, there's an asterisk, and it says, pick up the Secret Society of Supervillains, special on sale August 30th. If you value your sanity, don't miss it. So then we go down below that to see what the asterisk is there for. And it says, for Funky Secret Code, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Funky Secret Code, SSOSB, DC Comics, Inc., 75 Rockefeller Plaza, New York, 10019. How many people do you think sent in for Funky Secret Code?
I think there were 3 people reading this book, so maybe one of them did.
Yeah. Because, all right, I'm just trying, I don't know what month this issue came out, but they're saying that Secret Society of Supervillains Special, I think that the actual series is called like DC Special, I think is actually the name of the series. And then like this Supervillains one is just one of those issues, because I did track it down and look into it. But it says it comes out August 30th. So how long do you have to wait to get the conclusion of this story? Because
right.
Couldn't you find out who's in that issue?
Yeah, by just reading it.
By the time you send in to get the secret code, they send it back to you. You know, you decode things. That issue's already been out for like 3 months. Because, you know, everything took like 6 to 8 weeks back in the day.
Yep, sure did.
And if you look at this code, like the coded words here, it makes no sense. Like, it's clearly not just like a letter for letter substitution, because the first one is QQTGJ. I don't know too many words that start with the same letter, you know, back to back. That's rare. Yeah. Unless you're Finnish. That could be tough. So now I'm thinking like maybe it's a swap of letters and then you have to rearrange the letters to get a word. But even then, looking through them, that still doesn't make sense. Because when I looked at that issue, featuring, like, it's Superman, Batman, Flash, the actual heroes, Wonder Woman. So I'm guessing that's who these words are supposed to be. But looking at it, no clue how you decode that.
No. I kind of assumed it was referring to these new supervillains, but even that doesn't make sense, like, unless you're doing it backwards, because there's, like, 3-letter words at the beginning, but no 3-letter words at the end, so it couldn't be, like, Poison Ivy. It's backwards.
Oh, wait a minute here. Let's go... Because if you go, that's CLOPDJCL, that could be Angleman, right? Just backwards. Like if you put, like the CLO could be man.
Okay.
So, but again, QQTGJ, 5 letters. Who, like, 5 letters doesn't fit any of those villains.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think C is the letter N and you go backwards. That could be Angleman. And then if you look at the NYXCTIXTA, if that C is also an N, that could be Poison Ivy.
Okay, I think we're on to something here. But what is QQ? So the T would be
Grodd?
Oh, it's back. Yeah, there you go. It's backwards. How about that, Jank? You cracked the code.
Hey, look at that. We didn't even have to send anybody anything.
So PGXZAALI, that would be Star Sapphire. Yeah, the A's are P's. Yep. We did it, Jank.
Oh, makes sense. All right, yeah. Take that, Funky Flashman.
You get nothing on us, Funky Flashman.
Solve that in real time.
All right. No, 11-year-olds are smarter than us. We figured it out. All right.
I feel like Ralphie in A Christmas Story, working out that Ovaltine mystery.
So there it is, the Secret Society of Supervillains. And again, Gerry Conway's the writer here. This was horribly written, right?
From a plotting standpoint, it was like, why did there need to be 4 chapters? What really happened here? I mean, they were all going on different missions that didn't... It's like one group is going after these treasures, so you think the other group would be going after those treasures as well. But no, they're just trying to kidnap a super-powered girlfriend of a superhero for some reason.
And we don't even see her then, you know, like when they show up at that lot to get the items, Jean Loring's not there. So what happened to Jean Loring? Even at this hideout, you know, there's still no Jean Loring. So I don't know what that was about at all. Oh. And you think you would just focus on those items. Like if that's the gimmick you're doing, you got to chase down these items, just focus on that. And then make actually recovering these items interesting. Because they
have actual obstacles.
Like literally all they did, there was one panel that showed that drill ship flying through Star Labs. And that's where they got the cloak of invisibility or whatever. Like that's it. So it's
just kind of like that demon issue where he just had to like spit on a wall and pull the book out. Well, that wasn't really that intense.
Let's make it a little more interesting. And then Captain Comet just got pummeled twice. Like, and again, in the wrestling business, that's not how you make a baby face look strong, you know? Just getting hammered here.
Well, I guess in a book about the villains, you got to have somebody that they can win against. So that's why they picked Captain Comet. They're
Captain Comet, you're up. Let's go.
And the ending, the whole epilogue just seems stupid, unless they've been building up to this over the previous issues where they ran into these other villains and, you know, you thought maybe, you know, Gorilla Grodd was up to something. Otherwise, you just throw this in randomly. It's like, oh, he suddenly talked to all these villains and got them to come aboard and take over from you, Funky Flashman. Like, that's just a terrible epilogue. Like, why throw that into the last couple of panels?
I guess maybe because they did have a lot more members early on, so I guess they've been falling off. And then we see the Creeper leave, although it doesn't seem like anyone else knows. And then if the Wizard got arrested, but there should have been something like, man, we're running out of members. We really need to get some more members in here or something.
It could be the next issue. Like, oh, what do? We need a pledge drive. We gotta go recruiting.
But nope, it's just next panel, bang, whole new team.
Yeah. Very strange. I didn't understand what they were doing with this whole thing.
But hey, you know what? We did understand that code. We got that.
Yep.
So, all right. So yeah, this is terrible. Like Gerry Conway, man. I don't know. I liked his stuff when he was 19 on Spider-Man. I love that stuff.
Must have been all the cocaine. Like he got a hold of that. Lost all his talent. I don't know.
No, man, I can't think of like one good Gerry Conway book we read here in this 4 years of this. Like, it's hard, man. Like, we've done so many, and every time we read one, it's like, this is a mess.
Yeah.
All right, Dick Ayers, the artist. He's a Silver Age artist, and it shows, right?
Yep. Oh God, yeah. That's what this whole thing felt like to me. It was like, even like, we did that Iron Fist book, which wasn't very good. It was pretty bland and, kind of reminded me of like, oh yeah, the Meachums and all that bullshit. But at least it felt like what I think of as a comic book, whereas this totally, from the writing and art perspective, did not. This felt very Silver Age or even Golden Age.
Yeah, one of the ways, like Silver Age art, like what do we mean by that? Like the panels, the construction, big panels, like maybe like 4 panels a page a lot of times. Just like the perspective on the panels, mid-range, like level perspectives a lot of the times, nothing too dynamic. So
yeah, usually any kind of weird pose, the faces kind of look weird and they don't quite fit. Yeah, very simple. I guess he draws a good Sonny Bono, but other than that.
We did, I liked when he had Gorilla Grodd swing Captain Comet into the mountain. That was cool. But we did Dick Ayers before on this show a couple of times. I know the one was The Invaders. If you go back and read The Invader, you weren't here, Jank. This was pre-Jank. This was years back.
Yeah.
But, so that was something. Yeah, not a huge fan of the art. If you like Silver Age art, you'll love this.
Yes, it'll definitely take you back to those days for sure. Again, this is, when Marvel was doing so many other things, like Chris Claremont was doing great things with the X-Men by this time. And
yeah, that is
this over DC.
That is the craziest thing about DC. When we go back and read like late 70s DC, early 80s, it's like Batman was still so like childlike and just like nonsensical. And then you have like Daredevil Frank Miller going on over at Marvel, and
yeah,
man, it was just crazy. So
yeah, it's so weird that they were so far behind in that one for so long. But yeah, eventually I guess they got there. But
if I had to guess, probably because fellas like Carmine Infantino were running the show, like Silver Agey guys were still clinging to, Stan Lee, Funky Flashman. He adapted with the times,
That's right.
He catered to the college kids, and it paid off. All right, so what do you say? 1 out of 10, Secret Society of Supervillains.
Ooh, I think just from a pure entertainment standpoint, I gotta give it only a 2.
Yeah, I hear you.
It was easy. It was a light read. Like, it didn't seem like it took forever because it just didn't seem like anything was actually happening.
Yes.
So I guess it was light in that regard, but yeah, it just was not a very good time.
Yeah, the plot's a mess. I don't know. The characters really don't do anything of any importance or of anything interesting, but it does have a big monkey. So
yep.
Any book with a big monkey always gets at least a 3 from me, so I'll give it a 3. Can't go.
I think I'm giving it a 2 only because it had Uncle Bubble.
Yeah, not a good book. Just a train wreck. I don't know.
Yeah.
Won't be reading any more of these.
No, not until we get really out of books.
Remember that Marvel supervillain team up we did with Doctor Doom and Red Skull fighting on the moon? That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was so much more fun than this.
This, not so much. All right, Jake, try to top that next week. What do you got?
Oh, how can I? Well, I'm going to try to rectify a huge injustice. I've been on this show officially taking over for Mike L. For a year now.
Wow.
And I was on the show many times before then. And somehow I have never been here for a New Universe book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mike L and I used to hit the New Universe pretty hard.
Yep. Somehow I missed all of those. So I figured it was about time to pick a New Universe book. So I'm going to go with Justice number 20, issue 20 of Justice.
Wow, Justice lasted 20 issues?
I think it made it like 30 or so.
That's rarefied air for the New Universe.
Yeah.
There's a few New Universe titles we still haven't done. Justice is one of them. Psy-Force is another.
Yep.
And what's the one about the sleeping guy or the Night
Mask?
Night Mask. There it is.
Yeah, Night Mask.
Put your Night Mask on to sleep. So there it is. What is this, 87? Is that New Universe? 87?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
I think it started in 86. It was probably 87 by the time this issue came around. This one, Justice goes to a concert, a benefit concert for the, destroyed city of Pittsburgh after the whole pit incident.
Oh, no. Yeah. And again, the reason they destroyed Pittsburgh was because that's where Jim Shooter was from.
Yep.
Man, they hated Jim Shooter. Everyone ever.
He sure did. We gotta wipe out any record of his birth.
So, Justice, I don't know too much about Justice. I think he's some sort of alien bounty hunter or something, right?
From what I think he was a cop who, got powers in the White event and then decided just to take it into his own hands to judge everybody else who had powers and see if they were worthy of living or not.
Oh, wow. Sounds like a real jerk.
Like, are you using your powers right or not? Because if not, I'm going to take you out.
Wow. All right. Well, we'll learn all about him next week. Justice issue 20, Marvel New Universe. All right. Well, thanks to Jank. Thanks to everybody. Again, please like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. And until next week, don't get any jank on you.